We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It's only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Disraeli says, everything comes if a man will only wait. I brought myself by long meditation purpose must accomplish it. You will only attain it. You will be rich. Learned, you will be learned. Only you must then really these things and wish them exclusively. Kind of a hundred other incompatible things. Law of prosperity success. Believe and succeed. Anxiety, fear, and worry becomes what you think about. Frustration and feeling is nightshade that they poison. He digs two little holes in the earth and he plants both seeds. One, the other night shows up the holes, one
Sir, I hate machines, I hate machines, I hate machines, I hate machines.
Our mind comes as standard equipment.
Swear to God, I'm
Things
going
that are
to
given to us for nothing because we were glad to buy. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox. Everything we want.
Okay, now you
similar abilities. So decide now. What is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you ever make in your entire life. What is it you want? You want to be an outstanding sales better worker at your particular job, places in your company, in your community. You want to get rich. All you got to do is plant that seed in your mind for it. Work steady. Reality. It not only a few big laws will take care of every course. These things we bring on ourselves. What a similarity of that vision to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep and control and direct the power to one man in the moon to death? Action is enormously valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. Valuable to us not only then build a state leading nowhere. The carpenter from the plains of for every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. emotionally as well as intellectually, that we literally become what we think about. It's understanding so shaggy weak. When your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are at this moment standing in the middle of your own acres of I used to buy that. And for it's also remember what you think is the base of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down. Begin to think about it. It's all around you as you go about your daily. Control of your mind. It will think about only what you permit it to think about. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. One that asks you, receive it. Seek it, find it. It shall be opened. This is my you find. Dorothy, a upstanding editor and writer, discovered it for herself and tells about it in her fine book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the word act as if it were impossible to
And Earl Nightingale,
the other side. Like the word
we were watching it.
ask, seek. Remember that you must reap that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Gradually, when you hear this recording, play it off. And success is in direct proportion to our service. Most people have this all backwards. They believe that you're successful if you earn a lot of money. The truth is that you can only earn money after the man who sat in front of the stove would give me heat and wood. How many men there are today who take the same attitude toward life? There are millions. We've got to put the fuel in before we can expect heat. Before we can expect money. Unless he enriches others. There are no exceptions to all. You can drive down any street in America and from you'll get back what you put. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can avert this. It's impossible. The prisons and the streets of the lonely walk are filled with people who tried to make new laws just for themselves. We may avoid the laws of man for a while, but there are greater laws that cannot be broken. An outstanding medical doctor recently pointed out 6 steps that will help you realize success. 1. Set yourself a definite goal. 2. Quit running yourself down. 3. Stop thinking of all the reasons why you cannot be successful and instead think of all the reasons why you can. 4. Trace your attitudes back to your childhood and try to discover where you first got the idea you couldn't be successful, if that's the way you've been thinking. 5. Change the image you have of yourself by writing out a description of the person you would like to be. And 6. Act the part of the successful person you have decided to become. The doctor who wrote those words. Yeah, well, thank you. Hearing the words heart failure can be scary. Heart failure means your heart isn't working as well as it should because it's weakened and unable to pump properly. Entresto is a breakthrough medication for people with heart failure with reduced ejection fraction or HF. There's a lot to think about when starting a new medicine. That's why we created Entresto, a customized HF patient who Entresto and their caregivers. Entresto gives you access to specialists who to learn more about Entresto Central, visit www.entresto.com or call 1-888-368-7378. To watch more educational videos, visit www.youtube.com/with-HF. What is Entresto? Entresto is a prescription medicine to reduce the risk of death and hospitalization in people with certain types of chronic heart failure. Entresto is usually used with other heart failure therapies in place of an ACE inhibitor or important state information. What I should know about Entresto. ACE inhibitor medicine. Do not take Entresto for at least 36 hours before or after you take ACE inhibitor medicine. Talk with your doctor or pharmacist before taking Entresto if you are not sure if you take an ACE inhibitor medicine. Have diabetes and take a medicine that contains aliskiren. What should I tell my doctor before taking Entresto? Before you take Entresto, tell your doctor about all of your medical conditions, including if you have kidney or liver problems, are pregnant or plan to become pregnant,
are breastfeeding or plan to breastfeed. You should either take Entresto or breastfeed. You should not do both. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take, including prescription and over-the-counter medicines, vitamins, and herbal supplements. Especially tell your doctor if you take potassium supplements or a salt substitute. Anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs. The most common side effects are low blood pressure, high potassium, cough, dizziness, and kidney problems. You are encouraged to report negative side effects of prescription drugs to the FDA. Visit www.fda.gov/medwatch or call 1-800-FDA-1088. This information is not comprehensive. Please see full prescribing information, including boxed warnings, and patient prescribing information on this site or at www.entresto.com.
This recording is about I'm trying to condemn one of my closest friends found the book several years ago and stayed home for 3 days reading and digesting its material, and he then went on to reach the top in his industry. I've sat in richly paneled, carpeted executive offices and listened to world-famous business leaders, some of them old enough to be my father, tell me that everything worked out fine after they had read Think and Grow Rich. Now, what's the secret of this amazing book? Why is this book out of self-help books remain the one? I think to understand this, you have to say he was not the first man to be appalled at the poverty and the endless struggle and lack of direction he had as a young man, nor was he the first. But he possessed two unique, highly developed abilities seldom found in one man. The first was in the subject. Napoleon Hill went answers to achievement in the same way as scientists seek light of reason, a seek of nature. He went after the solution to accomplishment in the same way Thomas Edison discovered the solution to the electric light. Relentlessly, indefatigably, until the truth, which had been there all along. His second fate or the idleness of exterior circumstances were no longer in command. He who had been a passenger was now suddenly the captain. To begin, we have to understand the simple truth, the principle or philosophy which lies as the supporting structure of this work. Unless whatever it is you build is based on truth, you will end with the entire structure fallen and scattered about you like the armor of Homer's ancient warriors. It simply cannot stand. It cannot withstand the test of time. The reason Think and Grow Rich has withstood the test of time is because it rests on the broad, clean foundation upon which may also be found every accomplishment of man. The clear, unchallengeable fact that everything begins with an idea. A philosophy based on the fact that riches of every kind begin with the state of mind, that one may start with nothing but thoughts, ideas, and organized plans. Thoughts are things, incredibly powerful things when mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into material objects or riches. Riches being whatever it is you happen to want. Wise men have been saying this for centuries, and just recently Charles A. Cerami wrote, "The truth is that the human mind is as real an organism as any muscle in the body, but far greater in potential power. And like muscle fiber, it can be strengthened to lead on to unimagined conquests." So this, then, is the truth on which Think and Grow Rich is based. If you know what you want, and if you want it strongly enough to muster the kind of persistence that simply cannot be stopped, you will most certainly achieve it. By controlling your mind, you can control your destiny here on Earth. If this is our foundation, let's talk about Napoleon Hill's famous 13 proven steps to riches, as found in his book, Think and Grow Rich. Remembering, of course, that riches are whatever it is you happen to want. And right here, let me make two important points. The first is that whenever you listen to this, have a notebook handy and make notes as we go along. The second is that this was for your own personal use, to go with you on your own exciting journey. To play this for a group will prove to be of only temporary help. Make sure you have your own personal copy to play again and again, particularly at those times when you may feel yourself getting off the track. And now, Napoleon Hill's famous 13 principles. The first principle, desire. Here is the starting point, achievement, the first step toward riches. But it's right here that we so often run into a stumbling block. A person will say, "I know what I desire, but can I get it?" We'll get into this with doubt later, but once and for all, let's clear up this point. This point of whether or not you can accomplish that which you desire with all your heart. I think it was best expressed by Emerson, who wrote, "There is nothing capricious in nature, and the implanting of a desire indicates that its gratification is in the constitution of the creature that feels it." In other words, you would not have the desire unless you were capable of its achievement. Each of us has a built-in governor, and our desires are modified by our abilities and leanings. Whatever it is that you desire with all your heart, understand once and for all that it can and should be yours. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill cites example after example of why your burning desire is nothing more than an accurate picture of what you will one day become. So right here, firmly establish in your mind that which you desire more than anything else. For, as Helvetius put it, by annihilating the desires, you annihilate the mind. Every man without passions has within him no principle of action, nor motive to act. A good way to determine whether or not you really have a burning desire is to examine the way you go after it. If you go after that which you think you desire tentatively, timidly, in an attempt to play it safe, you don't have a burning desire at all. You can't get to say you keep it on first. Prosperity that lies ahead. Napoleon Hill gives us 6 definite, practical steps to follow. 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Be definite and there's a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent. Number two, what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There's no such reality as something for nothing. That's to have it down to your satisfaction. But this is by far the most important of the 13 principles. And this chapter of the book ends with these words. Through some strange and powerful principle of chemistry, which she has never divulged, it wraps up in the impulse of strong that something. Your main desire over and over again. You will muster the faith. Faith is vital to accomplishment. The Emperor Napoleon once said, all the scholastic scaffolding focuses, but never. Goethe said, epochs of faith are epochs of fruitfulness, but epochs, however glittering. And as Schlegel put it, in actual life, every great enterprise begins with and takes first forward step in faith. Have faith that you can accomplish that which you seek, for you would never have decided upon it unless it was meant for you to accomplish. In his chapter on faith, Napoleon Hill gives us a self-confidence formula. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominant thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of the person. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. In rereading Think and Grow Rich so that I could write this condensation for recording, I was forcibly struck all over by this great chapter on faith, particularly the examples of how some of the world's greatest men have accomplished what appeared to be impossible through faith. The third principle is autosuggestion. Now, we've already touched on this. This chapter of the book tells how, through repeated suggestion, the subconscious mind can be put to work for us. It is the faculty of being able to concentrate your mind on your burning desire until your subconscious mind accepts that fact and begins to devise ways of getting about. Here's where hunches come from. Sudden flashes of thought or inspiration guidance. The instruction with the 6 steps in the second chapter will now be summarized and blended. Sales. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the first day of January, 19, whatever it happens to be, I will have in my possession $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of salesman of, and here describe the product or service you intend to sell or whatever it is you do for a living. It goes on. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it. It's now awaiting transfer. It is organized into a definite plan of action and directed to a definite end. Before you can be sure of your ability, imagination. The imagination is literally the workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. The impulse, the desire is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty of the mind. It has been said that man can create anything he can imagine. As Napoleon Hill says and teaches, whatever the mind is, business, industry, finance, and the great artists, musicians, poets, and writers became great because they developed the power of self-motivation. Incidentally, one of the best books ever put together on this subject, if not the greatest, is its own, from your bookstore at your earliest convenience. As you go about your daily work, think constantly of ways in which it could be done better, more efficiently. Think of the changes that are inevitable. Can they be made now? And if you feel limited, remember the words of the late Frank Lloyd Wright. He said, "The human race built most nobly when limitations were greatest, and therefore when most was required of imagination in order to build it all." Limitations seem to have always been the best friends of architecture. As you build your future from this point onward, don't concern yourself with limitations, but remember that they may be your best friends, since they require imagination if we're to rise above them. And as Beecher said, the sun imagination is what an observatory would be without a telescope. The 6th principle is organized planning. You have decided on your desire, your goal. Now let's organize the plan for its accomplishment right on schedule. Let me quote again from Think and Grow Rich. You have learned that everything man creates or acquires begins in the form of desire. The desire is taken on the first lap of its journey from the abstract to the concrete. In the workshop of the imagination, what plans for its transition are created and organized. Earlier, you were instructed to take 6 definite practical steps as your first move in translating the desire for whatever you want into its physical equivalent. One of these steps is the formation of a definite practical plan or plans through which this transformation may be made. 1. Ally yourself with one or more persons with as many as you may need carrying out major importance to you. To be sure of success, you must have plans which are faultless. Second, you must have the advantage of the experience, education, native ability, and imagination of other minds. This is in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has risen above the average. Work at this until you have a well-executed, formal plan for reaching your objective. In this way, you're never confused or wondering what you should do next. Every morning you know exactly what you're going to do and why. It is in this chapter of Think and Grow Rich that Napoleon Hill gives us 5 of plans, 6 personality, 8 sympathy and understanding. Now, chapter on organized planning is one of the largest and most important in the book. It goes like that. Man without a plan to follow is like a ship without a course. No place to go. They were changed. People who fail to accumulate money without exception have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly, and of changing these decisions quickly and often. A definite objective makes reaching prompt decisions that much easier. Napoleon Hill gives many examples, one of which is the case of Henry Ford. It was to continue to manufacture his thing, the world's ugliest, but for the time, most of many of the purchases in the car were perhaps he delayed too long in the story yielded a huge fortune became necessary, and the compass for it. When you make up your mind, the majority of they permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Persistence is a weakness common to understanding and harmonious cooperation with others tend to develop persistence. 7. Willpower. 8. Habit. Persistence is the direct result of habit. Or individual related information. So you may voluntarily plant in your subconscious mind any plan, thought, or purpose which you desire to transmute one's desires into their physical equivalent. You know that it is a clear picture of yourself first thing upon the horizon. As you do this, your is toward your objective. Don't this principle. Your subconscious mind cannot reduce what you're reaching your subconscious. his object and told that the object had been fine observations. Intricate machinery should be in the physical body. This is the art. All that we know is today and hatch for this small each of us carry. Do you get your everything you want here? Of course it can. If you run a power individual, acting like fellows who have never even thought. Give it the job you decided to accomplish. On all of these great men actually endorsed Napoleon Hill's principles. Suppose I could have accomplished all that I've done in less than half the time. I sincerely hope the world will discover and reward you. Samuel Gompers wrote that the mastery of these against failure. The merchant wrote, I know that your fundamentals are sound. Yeah, and chart your course on the dream in your heart. These 13 principles will never let you down, as long as you use them. And now, it is with great pleasure that I give you the author himself.
What? Just different things. This core element. Every
In the year 1843, a man was born who, during his lifetime, was to have one day, well, at his church, asked him if he would be willing to instruct them in college courses. His last line. He asked him the story. Meanwhile, reward this vision and action. can effectively exploit the work and now engage. And you decided to be worse. You're 65. You see, people who earn large incomes aren't lucky, and they're not crooks as those without money are so fond of pretending, nor are they endowed with more brains or their friends and neighbors, nor are you all culture. You're lucky enough to have had rich fathers or grandfathers. The big incomes today started the same way. The only difference between the men who earn small incomes is that those being big decided they're the people who made superstition once and for all. The people who earn big money are special people. They're lucky to get the break or have money to begin with, or need someone, or are smarter, or anything else. These are alibis. They can all be disproved 1,000 times. We could go along with those conservative life we get from people who don't know we want to leave. The thing is, the thing about those homes on that beautiful drive is that they were built for the men and women who make the largest contribution to the very rich. But before I want to get pressure to the point and stare at the energy there and go over each item. And as you this is the item represents. One, it's the formula for getting rich. It also explains why you're in your best position. You found your stance. It applies as the first item on your checklist. In your mind, Maybe one of the performers that was both of for because they did not get this is what is really indicated. Oh, I think of the formula. As you think about it, if we will be compared to what's the formula, there are two rule different pieces. The formula is no roadmap. There are all of them. Item number two on your checklist. I'm serious about you putting this checklist here. You don't think about a man. It's his, you know, not really done as well as it must be done in the future. Innovation, every new improvement. This is not what line it happens to be. The first thing you do is make the business outside and inside. Exactly like every other place the business is back in the country. You know why? Just the beneficiary is the rule. It appears on your checklist as the gold mine. So, they the use the gold mine was behind you. There's more. very small fractures to that. Margaret Mead quotes a 6% research at the UCLA Brain Research points to enormous ability, suggesting an incredible where it passes dozens of common. And stating this, part of the exaggeration of a man's look at it this way. You'll go into the future. Your problem is to bridge the gap which exists between where you are now and the place you have reached. It's the problem solved. Robert C. Shaw, a chairman of the Department of Psychology, Western University, pointed out that successful people are not people with problems. They're simply people who learn to solve problems. They get the things we want from life, solving the things we stand before. And the point we have problems. They're everything. Here's show you how much time we wait about the long problem. Here's a reliable estimate of the about 40% things over in the in the world, 30%. Are 12%. Place worries, 10%. Mind comes into play. What is your mind? No one knows for sure. After this rate was gradually the point forth and by to play like Archibald Finch. In his clothes, the freedom the character says, he was optimistic forecasters of who was 10 years ago. But we have compounding events on it. I want to command that you take just 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, and this hour to exercise in your mind. 1 hour a day, what you might be good, write down the idea that pops into your mind, no matter how absurd it might seem. Let me tell you what will happen. Some of your ideas will be good, and we'll test it. The most important thing is our yeah. You can start spending 1 hour each day getting as many ideas as you can. Try to control on ways to improve what you're now doing. Remember the achievement of your goals. They like you to spend these are all abusing say each of us is taking underestimate the agenda on the we should realize we have a reservoir in this division. Must have popular belief might raise morale. The business and cloud or organized home. You find behind its success an outstanding leader. This is the most valuable person in society. In industry, he makes the wheels turn. The entire economy work. This is the man responsible for the You said it. People will say, here they problems. What they thought was wrong. He got the higher asking us. First, he had specialized. He had selected one line of work and decided that was where his future was. Now he had to prove that. You know the answer. If your answer is yes, among his was the most unique group on it. And to say that each of us must decide whether we want a cargo or a member of the crew. have faith. What should come to you, everything in the world. The person who works with nature's law. Then reap the rich results. The abundant harvest. They wanted a college education but lacked the money to pay for it. He told them that the boys will have to talk tonight. So he sold his farm and spent the rest of his life wandering the vast African continent, searching unsuccessfully for the gleaming gems which brought such high prices on the market to the world. Finally, in a fit of despair, like in their upstate, and first thoroughly explored the land he owned, he would have found the millions he sought right on his own property. The thing about this story that so profoundly affected Dr. Conwell and several millions of others was the idea that each of us is standing in the middle of bad businesses. Just those people who don't know enough. No matter if their work are those who work as an opportunity for growth and development and who prepare themselves for opportunities which surround them every day. Preparation is the key. Again, why did it begin? Who started? Annual dollar about how fast has it grown? Do I know as much about my job in my industry as a good doctor or lawyer knows about his job, his profession? You should, you know. This is the attitude of the person who wants to become a professional. It's far more fun. Many times a reminder of things you knew but have forgotten. Perhaps this idea of researching your job, your industry, is increasing your service to others sounds like a, but it's fascinating. It pays tremendous